If you haven't got your How to Quit Your Job course thing, make sure you get it. All About It University. All About It University.
What?
Are you a professor there?
Yeah. Shut up.
You love me like yeah. You love me like no. You love me like oh. You love me like yeah. You love me like no.
Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. It's
Joy
and Bree, and you're watching Worthy Wait. Today we are talking about healing from your past. The little thing that keeps us from being our best, that past crap that we just haven't dealt with.
So this is kind of a follow-up from the previous week's video on dealing with an ex. So healing from your past. So what's the first thing, Bree?
So step one is to identify your baggage. So in order to fix the problem and to heal, we have to address it. We have to know what it is that we have to address. So identifying what that stuff is. You have any tips for that?
First, I think you should give a personal example. Like things that you had in the past, maybe that you had to identify, especially in this relationship, that you had to be like, oh.
Okay, two stick out right away. One, anger. Two, like over independence. So basically, I had an issue with like Dre, like kind of like submitting at first, like him being and doing for me. Like I was always the person that provided as far as like income, or like was always the person saving my person. Like I almost took on the role of like a man. I was very independent to the point where it hindered me from really understanding what it meant to be a woman in a relationship. And I never knew why. I was like, oh, I'm just independent, and then I had to really look deep and realize that it was two reasons why I was that way. One, my dad wasn't in my life, so I kind of always have been overly masculine because of trying to overcompensate
And then seeing your mom too.
Well, that was going to be the second thing. The second thing is that my mom was super, super independent because she was a single mom of many kids, and we would always see her like working multiple jobs, doing the cooking, doing the cleaning, paying all of the bills. And so I was just taught at an early age to do and not wait around for someone to like take care of you. So that's one. The other one being anger is I was like, yo, why am I getting into trouble? Why am I doing things that really aren't who I am, and waking up the next morning and like regretting something that I said or did to someone. And I had to realize that when me and Dre got together, that my anger wasn't just something that was going to hinder me from having a good relationship. It was something that was going to hinder me personally, because it steals my peace, it steals my joy, it steals my ability to be my best self. Those would be my two examples.
Got you. No, I attest, and I agree with everything that you said. I think it's kind of going to the last video, is when it comes to identifying your back, you have to evaluate your past situations, and thoroughly. Like you can't do some surface level evaluation. You have to dig deep, because as Bree even said, as she went 2 layers below, she talked about her being independent. Then she referred to that may stem from issues that she had with her dad. And it continues to go deeper, and there's a lot of layers when you start to peel back why you feel a certain way, or why you think a certain way, or why you act a certain way. That there's a lot of things deep down that have happened. So in order for you to even address your baggage, you have to identify it, and that's the only way. And the only way to do that is through self-evaluation and being honest and true with yourself.
Yeah, and so some tips for that is there's so many different podcasts out there that talk about, past and healings and self-help things. There's books.
I like to meditate.
There's meditation.
Spend time with yourself.
Yeah, there's getting to know God more, because he will bring things to surface and you like, what? That's what I look like? Ooh, she ain't cute. She didn't get that to get that. And asking people, I had to ask my mom, Mom, do you know why? Or, what's your thoughts on this? And she would say things that I would be like, never thought of that. And even people who are friends, family members that you feel like have your best interest at heart, like ask them questions. Be like, do you know why I'm this way? Or, you know, things that will get you down to the real surface of what's going on with you. Which brings us to the next thing, which is focusing on self-growth. Self-growth. There we go. Self-growth. That sounds weird. Mm-hmm. You want to say something about that?
Well, it's just important that you work on yourself. I think a lot of times when people are going through things, they look to find that healing or that peace in other things or other people, but it literally comes within yourself. It's like you have to be able to shift your mindset in a bit to be able to grow and really understand what you need to address, what you need to figure out. And when you work your way through those situations of identifying your baggage, really tapping and really figuring out what the deep issues are, you end up becoming a better person out of it because you end up knowing yourself more. I remember when Bree and I first met, like, my stepdad had said this to her, and then also one of our pastors said this to her, and it was like, you don't know who Bree is. And she's like, I know who I am. I know myself. And it's in the sense of just, and that's a part of self-growth, is that you are getting angry and mad at things, but you don't really know why you're getting mad or why you're getting upset. But as she started to dig into why she was getting mad and where that came from, then she started to learn a lot more about Bree, which ultimately helped her to grow as a person.
And to put it in perspective, because this is not an overnight thing. It's not a week thing, a month thing, sometimes even a year thing. Who I was, how long have we been together? Almost 3 years. 3 years ago, and who I am now, I'm still not who I need to be. I'm not where I need to be with my anger. I'm not where I need to be even with, well, I mean, the other thing, I feel like I'm kind of...
You made amazing strides.
Yes, but I'm just saying that it's still something that I struggle with. Like, when I'm upset with technology, I want to throw it instantly. But now I won't throw it. I think of how much it cost, so we don't want to break it. I reinforce the habit of don't let this ruin your day. Don't let this take your peace. Don't let this take your joy. But it is something that if you are wired a certain way from an upbringing or from your past, and you're just doing things and you don't really have control over it because you don't know why you're doing it, it's just happening naturally, that means that you have to enforce a new habit. And new habits are really hard. You have to do them for 30 days in a row for it to actually become a habit. So it's something that takes work. Like, if you have to create a checklist of the things you're going to do instead of the thing you normally do when you get mad or whatever to try to solve those problems, the longer you do it, the easier it becomes. I know for sure, like, by the time we have children, I know that my anger is going to be so far gone that our poor kids are just going to think we're the most peaceful people in the world, because they're going to be like, Mommy, Daddy don't got no issues. Like, that, nothing makes them mad. But right now, Shorty still gets mad. Like, I definitely get mad, especially over technology.
But the thing is that one thing we do want you to understand is it doesn't matter if it's like this or this. Like, as long as you're growing, like, some people grow slower than others. You take certain steps. You dealt with a lot of things. So as long as you're growing and moving forward, that's the most important thing. And if you know somebody who's going through that and they're trying to be better, make sure that you acknowledge the strides that they have made, because you don't want to discourage them, and understand that it will take time for them to grow to a point to where they, understand.
And I would also say to find somebody who can kind of hold you accountable, whether it's just like one friend or somebody. Like, for example, if you have like a problem with, like, you get drunk, and when you get drunk, you do things that you wish you didn't have done. It's like, have that friend who, like, hey girl, when we go out, like, 3 drinks and I'm done. Or if you put yourself in situations with men and you want to stop doing that, it's like, tell your friend, like, please don't let me leave here with anyone tonight. Like, make sure I come home with you. Like, find someone who can be your accountability partner for whatever it is that you're dealing with when it comes to baggage and healing, even if that means getting a therapist or talking to somebody, because accountability is huge, and you want to make sure you're getting it from the right person so that you can make sure that you're reaching the goals that you want when it comes to healing.
For sure.
Okay, let the wound heal is our next
So it's really about what we had talked about in the last video, is that time heals all, and also that you want to put yourself in the best situation for that wound to heal. As I said before, if you hurt your ankle, doctors will tell you to stay off of it. If you got a cut, they'll wrap it up and say, like, don't touch it. We don't want anything to get infected. You have to let the things heal, because if you start putting yourself in a situation, like if you hurt your ankle, you're not gonna go running every day, because it's gonna re-injure the ankle. So if that doesn't make sense, if you know that you're dealing with something or you have issues, don't go back into situations that can potentially make that situation even worse. You know? So it's about really being aware of your surroundings and making sure you put yourself in a situation to where you can let yourself really heal, really evaluate, really take things in and grow from it, versus putting yourself in a situation where you'll end up making things worse or fall back into whatever you were in.
And that means that if you're still going through healing, don't add something else to the mixture while you're working on something. So if you're working on things, trying to heal and get through stuff, don't like be so quick to jump into a relationship. Don't be so quick to, if you are thinking of, or if you are dating, to just go crazy and do that to keep the healing stuff like off your mind. I remember when I was dealing with like stupid stuff, and the way that I would get my mind off of it was like I would go out to the clubs and like drink and just kind of like turn up, and none of that stuff would be on my mind. But then I wake up in the morning, I feel like crap, and then that stuff is still in my mind. So it's like, don't find temporary fixes for something that you really need to fix to be able to be your best self moving forward.
Our advice to personally is God, like praying, having that spiritual connection.
Receive.
That's been something that's been huge for both of us, whether large or small injuries that may have happened mentally, emotionally, spiritually, or anything like that. Our relationship with God really helped us through that. So.
And you know what's funny? A little random, but so I just realized this other day, I've been praying for patience for like a really long time. And I listened to the sermon today that basically talked about that. He said, if you want to pray for something, the last thing you should pray for is patience, because what God will give you is a bunch of stuff that you basically need to be patient through. And I was like, oh, dang, I didn't realize that I have been learning to be patient, because the things that are happening take patience. But I'm just saying that to say, like, pray for it. Pray for strength. Pray for clarity. Pray for healing. Pray for all of those things, because then it's in your mind, it's on your heart. And so as you go throughout your day, throughout your week, you're conscious to the fact that you are trying to heal, and you will consciously put more effort into healing, and you'll be amazed with what can happen just because you know that you're asking God for it and you're putting it into your day as a routine. So say it out loud. And the last thing is, don't be afraid to talk to someone, which I kind of touched on, but
yeah, you touched on like friends and somebody holding you accountable, but literally sometimes, and we have done this, or I needed this, especially when it came to like our wedding counseling, or even talking to my pops about like my relationship with Bree, is that sometimes you need somebody with some experience to be able to interpret some things for you and be able to decipher some things for you, because you yet don't really have the experience to understand certain things. Especially when it comes to evaluating your past and the things that have happened to you. There may be some things that have happened that you're trying to figure out what the source of it is, or how that happened, or this person said this to you and it broke you, but what they were saying really meant this or that. So it's important to talk to somebody at times to help you heal from that, whether it's a therapist, a psychiatrist, a counselor, somebody with a lot of wisdom and a lot of experience going what you're going through.
Yeah, it's like going to counseling or therapy does not make you crazy. I used to think that when I was younger, like people who go to therapy and counseling are crazy. And I think it has a bad rep to a certain point with our culture. But talking to somebody, especially a professional, in what it is that you're trying to do just means that you are investing in your future. Like, your life is important. And in order to be the best you can be throughout, what was that? You saw it? in order to be the best that you can possibly be, you have to go through healing and through really digging up that baggage, figuring out who you are and what you can do to be better and to not create the same cycle with your children or with your spouse. So don't be afraid to get help.
Do not be afraid to get help.
Is that everything?
It's everything.
Ooh, ooh. So make sure you follow the kids at
It's Dre Smith.
at Brianna Abante. Brianna Abante. And with the Waves. We love y'all.
You got this like Debo flannel on right
I was thinking the same thing. Am I giving Debo vibes? I like this flannel.